For years, road cyclists have wanted very low handlebars. The pros did it because it felt faster, and everyone else did it because, well, the pros did it. But it's always been accepted that as a result, there's always a trade-off between comfort and performance when you do slam those handlebars down. Until very recently, because there is a line of thinking that suggests that raising your handlebars could actually be a good thing. And in this video, I'm going to explain why. I'm also going to need someone to help. Someone who is yet to fully embrace the joys of a life behind high bars. There were no shortage of options here at GCN, seeing as I'm the only person to fully embrace this so far. But with me here today is Ollie Bridgewood. Usually found in what is essentially the fetal position on the bike, the man likes to get aero and stay aero. The mere thought of losing unnecessary watts sends him into a cold sweat and weeks of sleepless nights. Give him a shopping bike and he'd fit it with TT bars. If I can persuade him to see the benefits of raised bars, I can persuade anyone. As someone on the taller end of the spectrum, I've always had to work hard to optimise my bike fit. But since I've stopped professional bike racing, I've been able to relax things and adjust my position to make life less painful. One of the key things that I've done is to raise my handlebars at the front, which I tell you what, has made the world of difference. Not just to my comfort, but to other aspects of my riding too. Many of you will say that I am late to the party on this, but I'm now convinced that this adjustment could benefit a whole heap of you too. In the past, in order to put my bars up on my Canyon Grizzle gravel bike, I've used a Redshift kitchen sink handlebar. Now, I first used this a while back now, back in Unbound, and if you've got an eagle eye, you may have spotted it on my bike in a number of other challenges on the channel. And today, I'm also using Redshift products because they do provide a very handy way of getting around a common problem, as we'll see in just a moment. Redshift put a lot of thought into their products, but it must be said that neither they nor I would say they are the only solution to what we're talking about today. First then, let's talk theory and then we can get on to the practical. A higher handlebar puts you in a more upright position.
Are you a rocket scientist?
Well, look, the thing is, once you do this, you relieve pressure on your hands, on your arms, shoulders, neck, lower back possibly too.
Fair.
More comfortable. What's more, with a higher position at the front, you could also help with your control on the bike, on the road, but particularly off-road, which is something we've seen as a trend developing thanks to our mates at GMBN.
And we're also going to look at speed and efficiency because most people watching this will be wondering how much of that they're sacrificing by riding in a position like they're going to the shops.
Although if comfort is forcing your hand, that last point is largely irrelevant.
Yeah, I will concede that because something that's particularly interesting is also there is an emerging trend that suggests that being higher at the front end might actually be more aero. So we'll look at that as well.
Right, before we go any further, we do need to address the elephant in the room.
I always thought you were more of a giraffe.
Below the belt.
It's always below the belt.
Okay, look, typically most bikes have around 20 to 30 mil of adjustability at the front. And this isn't the fault of your bike, it's the way it's designed. And most people are happy with riding in this position. And if you do want a higher position at the front, it's most likely that you choose a different bike for that job.
Problem two is someone who already has a bike that they love, and for that reason they don't want to change it. Or perhaps they can't justify the added expense of getting an additional bike. And this bike, for whatever reason, whether it's through injury or maybe they're just not as flexible as they used to be, is now too low and they need it to be higher at the front end. Now, the solution that you can do typically is to get a stem that's inverted and pointing upwards.
Now this brings us on to problem number 3, aesthetics. Because having that stem that points upwards and also lots of spacers on your steerer to raise that stem upwards, it just doesn't look as nice.
It doesn't. Not everyone's bothered about that.
No, it doesn't matter, but it kind of matters to us, like on our own bikes.
I think it does matter to a lot of people, and you're right, it doesn't look as cool. And you know, think about it. When a designer draws a bike and conceives it and gets his magic markers out, makes it look all cool, they don't ever draw it looking like that. It's typically slammed and it's got a stem pointing down. And the shots that are used in the catalogue or on the website for the bike to sell it to you and make it look cool, again, they don't have loads of spacers and an upright stem.
It's kind of like retirement home rather than Tour de France vibes. But anyway, look, the solution to this is where our friends at Redshift come in. This is their new top shelf handlebar. That all-important view from the side is unchanged, but you get an extra 5 or 7 centimeters of height at the front, depending on which bar you choose. You can even opt for one that has a trendy bar bag on the front, which totally hides everything. Now, these are very, very new school bars, coming in either a 10 or 25 degree flare option, and they're wide, ranging from 41 to 53 centimeters in width. Designed for a road or a gravel bike, these provide a solution to an issue that I know many of you, including myself, have experienced.
I've got to be honest though, Connor, I just wouldn't ride my bike like that. I just prefer to have it slammed. And, you know, so I'm just guessing the main reason you do it is just for comfort, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I raced and rode professionally, look, I was able to maintain a much more aggressive position at the front, and that's the way I rode. But these days, I just don't ride as much. I find it much harder to maintain that same position. So if I do race things at the front, I find I'm much more comfortable. It allows me to ride further, faster, be more comfortable off the bike after the ride, and just enjoy my riding a lot more.
Just like my nan, mate.
Okay. I get the whole criticism and why you're aiming it at me. But look, the solution here, I find, it works because what I've often found is when I raise my position at the front, because of the steerer tube angle, you actually end up a lot more cramped because it brings the bars closer to you. Whereas with these handlebars, you raise the position at the front, but you also maintain your reach. Right, look, Ollie, we're off-road now, onto some gravel. And I know off-road riding isn't exactly your thing.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I love being out in nature, and I do really enjoy it. I'm just not very good at it. I just prefer riding on the road, but I do enjoy it.
Well, look, here, I think you'll have to agree with me that raising your position on the front will lead to a better experience off-road and an improvement in control and bike handling. Now, we've seen this in the mountain bike world. Riders have long used riser bars to improve their vision and control down steeper trails, balancing their body weight better on the bike, getting that improvement in control as a result.
Yeah, we're not Blake, Connor. This is not like Red Bull Rampage. I'm not going to be like sending it down black runs in the forest.
Okay, look, I accept that. I accept that. We're not all doing backflips. But still, when you're riding on gravel, there's plenty of times when you do experience faster descents, rockier terrain, and really fast-paced sections, especially if you're riding in a group. And if you do slam your stem and front-load your weight on the front wheel, it can compromise your bike handling ability, especially when you go off-road. So being able to relax that, bring your position up at the front, I have found has really improved my own bike handling off-road. Now, there's plenty of you who may disagree with this, and you know, we're not all Tom Peacock, let's be honest. We're not all gonna get around and just fly down a mountain in whatever position works, are we?
Yeah, true. I can appreciate that when you go down, especially on some real steep little bits on a gravel bike, which I've done. Sometimes when it's low at the front end, you do feel compared to a mountain bike like you're going to front endo, you know, and you're sort of going over the bars a little bit. So yeah, I can appreciate that.
Yeah, so when you relax that position, especially on long rides, when you get tired towards the end of a long day, and you don't have the concentration to be able to focus as much. It's really helped me, especially on some of my more creatively designed routes as well. What do you think so far then, Ollie? Because I do get a sense that I might be winning you round, but I also know that you're probably about to counter me in one fell aero nerd swoop with your anti-speed argument.
Well, normally, Connor, you ride with a horrific, like, bar bag thing at the front, which I'm glad to see that you're not using today, although you haven't resisted the temptation to festoon this lunchbox to your top tube. And these bags, they just do you no aero favours at all. The caveat, a big caveat to this, there is a potential aero benefit to being higher at the front end.
Okay, right, so how can it be faster? Well, we've seen a lot of pros actually starting to use more spacers under their stems. But to really understand this, I think we should look at time trial bikes first. So within time trial bikes, if you look at time trial bikes from, say, the 90s and the early 2000s, the riders had a much lower position at the front end. And you can see this by looking at the bike side on and seeing the position of the armrests relative to the saddle, much lower. But now, riders have got more aerodynamic and faster, and we're seeing them typically have the armrests level almost with the saddle, much higher at the front end. And the reason for this is because when you get into that aero position with your hands, by having your hands slightly higher up, it relaxes your shoulders a little bit and allows you to then drop your head more comfortably between your shoulders and get into that really aero position. I call it the turtle's head. The turtle's head.
The turtle's head. So there you go. So with raising your position at the front, you could actually be faster.
Yes, and there's road riders that do this who are good examples. Willem van Schip, great example of this. He gets very aero at the front end. And if your hands are lower, so I'll put my hands on the drops to simulate this. If your hands are lower, then it puts tension into your shoulders. I'm exaggerating it now, but by having that tension in your shoulders, it's much less comfortable to then drop your head, and puts a lot more tension in your neck to drop your head into that aero position.
So you can maintain a more aerodynamic position with a raised front end, but also be more comfortable at the same time, therefore putting out more power for longer. There you go then, mate. I think you started the day, let's be fair, as a non-believer, and I think at the end of it all, we might have won you round.
You know what, right? I've done some big endurance rides where I have actually had issues with my neck and shoulders, and I think having something a lot more upright could have been beneficial.
There we go. There we go. And you know what? I think the same. Yeah. I think the same. I was for too long trying to maintain my old position on the bike. And I hope you found this video useful and potentially allowed you to find a more comfortable position on your bike too as well. Let us know in the comment section down below. Have you tried experimenting with raising your position at the front, and did you find it useful? Thanks as always for watching. Don't forget to like this video if you did find it useful. Hit that subscribe button because we've got plenty more challenges coming up on the channel soon.
Love you, bye!
Thanks for watching!